Hey everyone, I'm Lisa.
I'm Lori.
And I'm Carla.
And we're here with you for the monthly discussion for January cross-stitching challenges. So thanks for joining us. Hopefully you're here because you want to know what things you can get up to in some of the groups that are on offer. There's so many groups, we cannot cover them all. So you just get to hear about the ones that we're in. So we are going to be going through and giving you our ideas, brainstorming a bit of what we're going to stitch and let you know how we plan, how we double dip across and triple and whatever dip across the different groups. So sit back and listen. I do put the headings in for the different groups. So if you're not in a particular group, you can fast forward to the next one. All right. Well, Laurie, what have we got happening? First of all, in Daily 30.
Daily 30's monthly events is called resolutions. Of course, it runs January 1st through the end of the month. And as with all daily 30 monthlies, there's 10 prompts. The stitch count is 300 stitches or 3 hours. If you earned a free pass in November or a discount, the discount, you can use it on this monthly event. So if you earn the November discount, it would be posted in the group and you can use it on one of these. So let's start off. The first prompt, there's a long paragraph about exercise. If you read the paragraph, there's lots of words and lots of facts mentioned in there. So the prompt is stitch on a whip related to any of these words in the above paragraph. And some of the words, for example, are food scarcity, farms, industrialization, desk jobs, suburban sprawl, you get. So there's lots of words where you can relate those terms or versions of those terms to whips. You have to explain it out. So I will start off with mine, if that's okay with you guys, a little out of order.
Yeah.
So I'm relating.
We can do a new order.
Okay. As the leaves turn is mine because there's a mention of farming, and this is clearly a pumpkin farm. And so I just explained out how this whip relates to the prompt and what words I'm using. I even capped my word that was in common with the paragraph to make it easier on the graders.
Awesome. We like to take care of graders in all the groups.
Yes.
All right. Well, I'm thinking because all of my stitching relates to basically, I'm trying to continue a focused approach each month, and I'm basing it on Whip Go. And Whip Go, as many of you know and are playing, is the easiest game to play. It's like a bingo board, and each month Jessie Marie calls 2 numbers. For January, she's called numbers 2 and 19. So I went through my 3 Whip Go boards, gives me 6 pieces to be my focus pieces, and where possible, I'm trying to make them fit in. So I'm thinking my World Postage Stamps by Soda Stitch will be good for this one, because in the paragraph there was mentioning of water, urban stuff. So I think I can cover it quite easily with a few of those different words. And that will help me to double dip with my Whip Go.
All right. And I'm doing the same thing with my Whip Go numbers, but I had 4 boards this time. So I was able to pull out 8 different projects that I'll focus on this month and work in as many prompts as I can. And for that first one, I decided Heritage Sampler by Plum Street. Because it's historical and there's a lot of historical words in that the paragraph kind of indicates as we've progressed in history. And I thought this met the match. So that's what I used.
Yeah, it's nice and broad, which I liked. And it's 300 stitches for the monthly.
Correct. So prompt number 2, stitch on a whip you hope is your first finish for 2022. You get 5 bonus tokens if you finish that same whip in the month of January, and you have to post your finished photo as proof for that claim of that bonus. So mine, I hope to finish Coffee Quaker. I'm just going to name the whip. You want me to?
If you've got it, you can show it.
Absolutely. So sharing my screen here. There is Coffee Quaker. It's very common. And I am really close. I have this section and this bottom section, and it too is one of my whip go board pieces. So I have lots of motivation to get that done.
Awesome.
I saw somebody recently finish that in the NoNewStarts group, and she
Mhm.
used all different colors for every motif. It was beautiful.
Oh, nice.
Some creative people out there. That's what I love about this hobby.
Mhm.
Well, I hope to finish Anzac by Long Dog Samplers. I will be honest up front and say I really doubt that I will, because I'm just over halfway through. But it is one of my no, I don't think it is one of my pieces, but it's one of the pieces that I am going to use for another group, and I want to get a lot of stitches done on it. And it is one that I wanted to finish last year, so I do hope to finish it this year.
Well, for me, it's going to be Lindy Stitches, A Change in Latitude. And this one is probably one of my smaller ones that I've started for this year. And it is one of my whip goes that came up, and it's not a lot of stitches, I don't think. And I have to do 1,100 stitches to get my whip go goal done. So it'll put me close, I think. So I should be able to get it done. Maybe.
Very nice. Very nice. Third prompt, stitch on a whip of your choice and tell us how you organize your stash. So I just popped a photo of my stash, and I'm going to share my screen. As crazy as that is. And just to show you in my post how I posted it, I told her, or whoever the grader is going to be, how I organize my stash. And here's my messy armoire. And then I just posted for the whip of my choice. There you go.
Okay. Well, I organize my stash depending on what it is in many different ways. So I'll take some photos, put in my post. But the thing I love most about my organization is my little tie hanger that hangs on the side and tells me all my like threads, so I can just grab them.
Mhm.
So I'm going to just randomly pick one of the ones that's on my whip go called the Samurai, and I'm going to do 400 stitches on him for that one. 300, I mean, sorry.
And for me, I think I'm going to do Cross Stitch Nation Heritage Samplery. I think I can use this for 2 prompts and double dip it across another challenge group. But because it is a SAL too. So I know I read that somewhere in one of the groups I'm in about stitching
Yes.
on a SAL item. So
That's actually Daily 30. It's their new monthly event, so perfectly timed.
oh, well, I can't
Yes.
double dip both in the same event, but
Well, it's in their weekly event, I think. But you yeah, you bring it up. Yeah, because weekly we're not talking about this week, so it's valid. Yeah, you can actually do a SAL. And can I just say there is a SAL for this one that I've got. We're doing it as a shady tree scale, same one. So you have a few hashtags if you want. Yeah, anyway.
Okay, prompt number 4, learn a new skill or hobby. For this prompt, relate your whip to this skill or hobby. Be creative and be sure to explain your choice. So my choice is beading. I took one stab at beading a long time ago in like an EGA class just to say I could do it. Then I bought a chatelaine. So I have big goals. And so let me share my screen.
And then you want a chatelaine, so you're going to be up on them big time.
I am. I'm hoping to be a pro. So let me share my screen. So I am choosing the chatelaine as my piece because I hope to be an expert at beading when I'm done with this.
I'm sure you will be when you get that.
Well, the reason I had this in my hand is I actually was thinking just to be really boring though and do my cross stitching hobby as a hobby, because I don't know if it has to be a new one, but it says a hobby. And this one I'm planning to do every week for the SAL. So that won't work because I can't double dip in the same group.
Yeah.
So
Nope.
this is why we brainstorm. So I can't do that. So I'll have to go to plan B, which is to take up broomstick flying.
Oh, very nice.
Says be creative, doesn't it?
That is creative. I'm going to do gardening, and I'm going to use this Heaven and Earth design. It's Heart of Spring is what it's called. And there's lots of flowers, and I could even take up bird watching. There's a bird on her in her hair.
Yeah.
So that'll be my hobby.
Yes, that's very creative. So prompt number 5, stitch on a whip that you've saved money on. Be sure to explain your choice. So I saved money by first time ever dyeing my own fabric.
Really well.
And so, yes. So I will share my screen. It is on the March gnome, so I'll share a few things. That is my March gnome, and I wanted him to have gold fabric very similar to his buckle there. So I dyed my own fabric, and this is the way it turned out. It'll be kind of a small picture, but that's good enough. My gold fabric here is what I dyed myself, and I saved lots of money on it. So
Very nice.
that is my explanation.
Definitely.
Good dye job.
And you'll notice that Laurie's being particularly clear to point out to everyone, make your explanation match the prompt. Okay, I'm just pointing that out in case people aren't actually seeing it. I will work on my Joya Noel because it was a free chart, so that saved me lots of money, and I'm doing it on a piece of fabric that I dyed myself, which is also saving me lots of money.
And for me, I'm going to go with my Gecko Rouge kit because I don't know about you all, but when I go into a craft store to buy floss, I always buy more than what I go in there with. And this came with floss, fabric, and everything I needed to start my own kit. So I wasn't tempted by other things in the store. So that saved me money.
There you go.
Awesome.
Yes. Number 6, add your own personal resolution and relate your whip to that resolution. So the next 5 prompts, 6 through 10, are going to be, what is your own resolution? No one's going to follow up and see if you've done it or not. So yeah, make up something. And if you're really earnest, you can add your true resolutions in this prompt, but just be sure to explain it. That's what the mods are looking for and the admins are looking for. So I will give an example or two to give you some idea of what I've done. So I'm just going to share my Facebook screen, if that's okay. It will be hard to read, but listen to my words and maybe that'll help you out. So let me share my screen. Okay. So one of my first resolutions is that I need to sleep more. I need to have better sleep. And so I explained that, you know, I bought a smartwatch and it helped me track some issues. And dreaming of Clint, because she's clearly sleeping, dreaming, is my whip that relates to that goal. Another goal that I have is I want to have more flowers in my landscaping at my house. I have like just shrubs and, you know, deco grasses. And so my resolution is to every season change out the flowers in my bed. So language of flowers is my whip of choice. And I've explained that. So I hope that gives you some idea of a range of resolutions you can have and how to relate your whips to your resolutions.
So I've got one worked out already. I want to drink more water. There's plenty of fresh water in there.
Yeah.
In Animal Kingdom bookshelf. So that's my plan.
And the only one that I have is I want to read more books. So I have Hope Witch, who is sitting there drinking her coffee and reading her book.
Very nice. Yeah. And that is daily 30. I'm trying to think if there's any more bonuses, but no, I think that's it.
No, I think that's it. And there is the weeklies have started, but our format this year is going to continue like Laurie and I ended up last year, where we're just going to do the weekly videos every 2 weeks. So you'll get the monthly video at the start of the month, and then the next week you'll get a weekly, which will cover 2 weeks of daily 30, because you can still do them except for the daily 30, obviously. And then we'll you'll get 3 videos a month from us, mostly. Yeah, which is good. All right, so next up then, we have got semisane. What is happening in semisane?
Oh, let me see. I was following along with our friend over there, and I took semisane because I was reading along with her.
Yeah.
All right, Miss Lori. Okay, so semisane has got a lot of things going on. Like they have a lot of stuff. So just to give you a brief overview, semisane is known to have a lot of different events. You don't have to do all the events. You can pick and choose, but they do want you to participate in something like every few months, at least, I would say. So for the month of January, they are having the semisane, well-known snowball fight. So Lori is participating in that. So if do you want to share any details on the snowball fight and how that works, since you're
Sure.
actually in it?
Absolutely. So you stitch 300 stitches to earn a ball to throw. So you tag an admin, pasting a link to your claim post, and they will create a snowball in a photo album, and the snowball will have your name on it. So if you want to throw that at someone, one of your friends participating in the game, you will paste that photo in their claim thread, and they know they've been hit. It's a fun thing. There's no teams. And once you're hit, you stitch 100 stitches to dry off. You can't continue building your next snowball until you dry off from any hits that you have pending. So once you're dry, you just continue to stitch your 300 stitches. This seems like it could be like fast paced and boom, 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 but it's really not. You stitch at your own pace. You dry off at your own pace. I didn't see any prompts, any instructions where you're eliminated. So you just dry off before you start building your snowman. So it's a very fun game, and it keeps you stitching.
It does. And they do suggest, if possible, to have 2 whips on the go, because if you are in the middle of stitching your 300 and you get hit, you've got to stop stitching that 300 and then stitch 100. It's tricky if you're doing it on the same whip. So that's just a little hint. So yeah, what else have we got, Carla?
All right. So the other thing that semisane has going on is this or that. And so this or that, it is, I don't know how to describe it. It's this or that. So basically you can stitch on a piece with the word January in it, or stitch on a piece that is related to winter. That's what's going on for January. You want to fit your project however you can. They want you to be creative. Post a beginning and ending picture, and you earn entries. So there's not a quote certain amount of stitches you have to do, but I'm sure that they're going to be looking for some progress, more than 5 stitches. So it's very flexible, and you get to pick what you want. They also have, sorry, my phone is getting blown up by people in the,
Yes.
We released our first leg of our travel event, and it's going crazy right now. So, so forgive me. The other thing we have is the January Focus Challenge, and they've done this before, where they want you to focus on a piece for the month, and they want every 1,000 stitches you do, you earn entries for monthly prize drawings and bonus entries that will be given if you do multiple months in a row. So you want to pick wisely. If you have a project that you really want to make some good focus on, this would be a good place to claim that right now and then use it month to month. And some people are just switching it up every month. So
you could really easily double dip that.
Really, absolutely. Especially if you got some whip go that's going for a couple months.
I mean, daily 30 animal hunt.
For sure. And pop culture also has a yearly ABC that you could do and use the same project. So, and Full Coverage Fanatics has a focus of the month kind of thing going on. The other thing, and I'm not sure, I want to look real quick because this might be a yearly. No, I don't think it is. It is called the Get Fit and Stitch. And this is trying to get you to reach some personal fitness and stitching goals. So for each hour of exercise, you pair it with an hour of stitching during the month. You earn entries into a special prize drawing for the event. And each day you stitch, you add your start photo before you begin, and then stitch and add a finished photo. You know, normal guidelines for how to post to any kind of challenge group. You need a start photo, you need an end photo. Each day you exercise, you add a photo and or comment describing what exercise you did and how long you spent doing that exercise. You pick it: walking, running, swimming, cycling, yoga, kayaking. My exercise may be deep breathing. That might be the exercise for me, but I'm being, silly. At the end of the month, you total up your time that you spent stitching, in the exercise post and determine the number of entries you earn based on how many hours from each of that group you can match together. So 10 hours of exercise will match up with 10 hours of stitching. But if you do 20 hours of stitching and you only did 5 hours of exercising, it sounds to me like only those 5 will count because they match up. So I'm not really that doesn't appeal to me this year, but maybe later on, maybe in the summer when the weather's nice and I want to go out and do more things outside. It's winter here for me.
Fair enough.
20, they're also semisane. I'm telling you, their monthlies is unreal how many events they're having. They're doing a calendar sale for January where you pick your favorite monthly motif or design. The flower of the month, Joan Elliott. It has Leslie Tier, Lizzie Kate, Etsy, all these designs. Oh, it's a year event. I'm sorry. So it says it's a year-long event. So it seems like every month they may be doing different motifs. Each monthly section must have at least 1,000 stitches or a 40 by 40 stitch area, not necessarily for full coverage.
That's the yearly one that you can do
Yeah,
each month, like the alphabet was last year.
that's what
Yeah.
it sounds like.
Awesome.
So
All right.
lots of things going on in semisane for sure.
Mhm.
Okay. The next one is mythological stitches. As I said, they do a lot of research, and if you're into that sort of thing, it's really fascinating to read. I've just scrolled through like about 3 pages worth of really good information about the event to get to the point. So for the monthlies, you can choose your 3 levels. You can be diamond, which is hardest, emerald, which is medium, or pearl, which is the easiest level. And each different prompt has sometimes different amounts of stitches. So task 1, complete stitches on a project that you can link in some way to Persephone's abduction by Hades or garnets. So what pops into your mind, ladies, and about Persephone's abduction by Hades or garnets?
Garnets.
Garnets are red gems.
Mhm.
Well, could I use a walk across the Highlands, because a lot of swords sometimes will have little garnets or gems on there, and she has red hair.
Well, I would try. I mean, again,
Yeah.
What's the worst thing that could happen? My whip gets love.
yeah.
I can't think of anything garnet except for something Christmassy, which is like the antithesis of hail. So
Yeah, well, you don't really want to do that. And
yeah,
I'd have to read up on the Hades stealing Persephone side of things. But because this is a group that we're already, like, I want to double dip, I don't want to do more. I think what's jumping to my mind would be my Joy and Noel, because of all those garnet colored things in it.
You could double dip that with the travel event at the Tinsmith's Wife, because I see some dresses. So is there women in that?
Oh, there is, but there's a woman in my witch.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but thank you. So you're either doing 1,500 stitches, 750 or 250 for that task. The second task is stitch the project you are most protective of. Most protective of. I know what yours will be, Lori.
Yes, it's my chatelaine. So I've already showed it, but it's so pretty. I'll show it again. Yeah, with all of the beading and all of the work, it is a humongous project. Yes, I'm very protective.
Carla?
I'm gonna say probably not, because remember, I'm trying to stick to my same ones for the month. So I'm going to use Rosie the Riveter again, because this is actually a gift for my middle daughter, who is all about this one right here. So I guess I'd be more protective of that since it's a gift.
My stitching time, because it's a big Hade and I'm getting a long way on it with my black. So I think I'd be protective of that. All right, and that was the same stitch count as the last one. Task 3 is easier, 500, 250 or 100. In red to represent the pomegranate seeds, or black to represent Hades. So in the color.
Got it. For me, it would be As a Leaves Turn. Let me show that. I am in this area right here. And so this red tree and that red chimney would give me a lot of red. And right beside it is 310 black in that roof. So there you go.
Well, for me, because I'm doing this as a sal with some friends and we each have to pick our own colors, but the man in the pattern is to represent the men in our lives. I think my husband Nestor needs to have a little bit of a black jacket. And the girl next to him is in a red dress. So hopefully that person will pick red.
Lovely. Not. Well, for me, it'd be either of the two I've just shown you, the red or the black. Simple. All right, task 4. Stitch on a project you haven't worked on in at least 3 months to represent the time that Persephone must spend in the underworld.
For me, that's easy. My oldest whip, Cozy Cove. I love it. I just don't like working on it because I don't like the pattern and the floss. So anyway, Cozy Cove.
Carla?
For me, I'm going to say it's probably would be my folk witch because this was my freebie start last year. So I've had it going, even though I haven't gotten a lot of stitches on it yet. It's on my frame tonight.
And for me, my little house ABC houses, because I've not worked on them for over 3 months, and they're one of my animal ones. So I will be working on them this month, and they need a lot of stitches, so easily done. And lucky last, a project that makes you feel comfort and healing when you're sick.
Well,
Yes. I would do Coffee Quaker, which I've shown earlier in the show, and it's something warm and it's a little stimulating. So I would go for coffee if I was feeling a little down.
and I'm going back to Cross Stitch Nation because needle and thread always makes me feel better. Lisa?
Sorry. I would do my Cross Stitch Nation, which I already showed you too. Okay, so that then brings us up to pop culture, and pop culture have got their usual sort of format happening, I think, for the monthly stuff. We're not going to go into as much detail as we have done because they have so many options. It's brilliant. There's something for everyone. So the first thing that they do have is that they are doing movies, and it's box office hits from a particular year in the 1980s. I haven't got it up in front of me, but just to give you an idea, and we don't need to talk about them, but there's Jurassic Park, Toy Story, Titanic, The Princess Diaries, Ratatouille, Twilight, Harry Potter, and you just do however many stitches you want to do to fit each movie that you can relate to the movie, explain it out, and you'll be fine. And for every 100 stitches, you get a point.
Yes.
They've also got the anagram.
Oh, yes. And the anagram is 200 stitches. And the word on the anagram is resolution. And just to note with pop culture this year is they're not allowing the double dipping across the different events for the monthly. So they are allowing their yearly to be double dip, but not the month to month. And that's what they've done in the past. This year, they're not doing that, or at least for January. So the anagram is resolution, and it has to either be the project name or designer. It is not something in the project this month. So name or designer, and 200 stitches for each one.
Lovely.
Yeah.
And what else they got, Laurie?
They have fun facts, and this is an event that I like to participate in every month. So I won't read all of the facts, but the moderators and the admins, especially Diana, they spend a lot of time in pulling these facts out, and they're very interesting. So I suggest reading through them. But the first prompt is for 5-point stitch, 500 stitches on a piece that you can relate to cold/winter or hot/summer. So winter or summer pieces. And for that, I started with Sing and Rejoice. Clearly winter, I'm doing this piece up in the top right-hand corner sorry, left-hand corner, sing and rejoice, clearly snow, clearly winter.
For me, I'm doing change in latitude because that is clearly summer. He's at the beach getting ready to dive into the ocean.
Yep.
And that's a double dip with the daily 30 that we talked about earlier. So
Mhm.
more to help me get it done.
And
Yep.
as I said, I'm planning as I go. I actually think, to me, the traveling around the world in summer, most people are wearing summer outfits. So I think I double dip my postage stamps for that one.
Yes. The next prompt, for 4 points, stitch 400 stitches on a piece you can relate to traveling, trading, shopping, shipping or ships, or birth, or something that has a gate in it. So for me, I am going to stitch on As the Leaves Turn. It has a gate. Well, there's no swing gate, but you know, there you go. But this is a general store. And so there's general store right there. So they're clearly trading, and he's clearly shopping because his cart's loaded up. So that's how my whip relates to that prompt.
That's very interesting. Because now I'm looking at this a little bit differently, even though it's not really trading. I don't per se, I don't think, I'm not sure, but he's down here with the flag. It looks like they're handing off. And up here, these two pilgrims look like they're handing something off. So, and there's a ship. Ships are used for trading, right? There you go.
Yep,
See,
it's
that's why I
shipping.
like these videos. It helps me think it through.
Exactly.
So
the week we don't do the homework videos, I like go, what am I doing? I was going to travel instantly. I came up with postage stamps, but since I just chose that for the last one, I'm going to go with my Once Upon a Fairy Tale, particularly for the gate. I don't know if I'm getting the gate in the picture, but there's gates on the doors. There's lots of gateways and things.
Yep, and you have a ship down there too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Definitely. So the next prompt, number 3, is for 2 points, stitch 200 stitches in shades of red. So I already said in the As the Leaves Turn, I was stitching on that tree, and so
It
there you
doubled
go.
perfectly with that one for mythological, so we don't really need to cover it. I mean, joy and oil for me.
Yeah. And I got red on here and the border, so can always work on border.
There you go. So number 4, for 3 points, stitch 300 stitches on a piece that has pink, red, or white flowers. So for me, that was really easy. Tudor Rose Biscornu. Share my screen. The flower is literally pink, red, and white in the middle. Ha.
Oh, perfect. For me, it would be my Hearts of Spring, because those flowers definitely are pink. Lots of pink in there.
All right, for me, I mean, I could do red, Joy and Noel. I could do pink on a Stitch in Time, but my samurai has white flowers on his trees.
Very nice.
And I don't have to do the 300 on the flowers necessarily, do I?
No.
Yeah.
So that's fine.
It just has to be in the whip.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yep. So the next prompt, for 6 points, stitch 600 stitches on a piece that has a full moon. Sorry, it has a moon, full or not, or a wolf. So a moon in any phase or a wolf. For my piece, it would be Nevermore. And let me share that really quick. There's a moon back here in that, behind that tree over the graveyard.
Oh, I got this one. I just found it. So in Folk Witch, on her book, there's a moon. It even says Luna.
Awesome.
Okay. Again, Once Upon a Fairy Tale, full moon.
Yeah.
But I might decide that's not what I want to do. And I might do the wolf in the Amazing Animal Kingdom bookshelf.
Oh, nice. So did your Amazing Animal Kingdom come up on your whip go this month?
No, it's my plan. So my whip go, let me just, since you brought this up, I will show people my planning. I made myself this little project card with all my events on the top, which are already changing. That's life. And then I've got my 3 pieces that are for my daily 30 event, my animal. Then I've got my 6 whip goes. And then I have 3 more spaces plus my sow that I had to add. So I decided I was going to do a full coverage each month. So this month I chose my animals as my full coverage.
Oh, okay.
Anzac because I want to get it finished. And then the last spot is the one that may change from week to week if it needs to.
Okay.
Very nice. Okay. For 2 points, stitch 200 stitches on a piece that has something you could donate. As always, feel free to think outside of the box. So mine is, there is a nonprofit called Mana Worldwide that feeds people around the world, and they sell coffee as one of their revenue streams, and it's called Mango Tree Coffee. And so I'm doing Coffee Quaker, and by buying that, you're contributing to feeding the hungry. So
Awesome.
you've seen Coffee Quaker, so there you go.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, for me, the big things that people donate around here tends to be a lot of clothes or furniture or tools. So I'm going to go with my Rosie the Riveter because, you know, she's got the clothes on, she's got the hair thing. I always find that stuff when you go out to where you donate. And right now, with everything that's been going on, there's people out there that need it because they don't have it.
Exactly.
So
awesome. For me, books. There's always books. So I'm doing, this is a temperature bookshelf that I got from Etsy, but I'm not doing temperature, I'm doing my stitch counts. So I'm working on this as my daily 30. So I'll be doing half an hour a day for 5 days. So that will easily be 200 stitches. So yay, winner in the double dipping wars.
Yes. Okay, next, number 7. For 7 points, stitch 700 stitches on a piece you can relate to Alaska. Think cold, mountains, waters, bears, outdoor activities, etc. So again, explain and be creative. For me, Get Crackin' is my one as related to fishing. So I don't have that one up. Let me share my screen. I'm being slow, sorry. Here you go. Ships for the water.
all right. For me, I'm going to do a walk through the Highlands because back here you can see there's a mountain, there's a lake, and she looks cold. And this is Heaven and Earth, and it's by Jasmine Beckett Griffith.
All right, I got 2 choices. Obviously, the bottom row of my Animal Kingdom bookshelf or Disneyland World Map because it has Alaska in it.
Yeah,
it
Not Canada,
does.
but everything else, but it actually has Alaska in it. So come on, you can't get more Alaska than Alaska.
perfect. So number 8 for 5 point. I'm sorry.
I need help with this one.
Oh, okay. Okay, for 5 points, stitch 500 stitches on something you can tie to the Super Bowl, sports, football, parties. Also, feel free to think of commercials. They have used Clydesdales for Budweiser, Spud the Dog for Bud Light, Weenie Dogs for Heinz Ketchup. There's lots. I can think of the Mountain Dew commercials. They have like a mosquito and dancing cats and things like that. I mean, you can really just go all out with this. So I will share what mine is. I chose horses because they're in the Budweiser ads. And also my whip is As the Leaves Turn. So I'm getting ahead of myself because I'm so excited about this. I love football, by the way.
Where is the Super Bowl held?
It fluctuates. It moves from place to place. So I got to share my screen. As a Leaf Turn has a general store, and if you're doing a Super Bowl party, you've got to have snacks. You got to stock up. So he's going to the store to get ready for his party. So
He's
there
got
you go.
horses that could be the Clydesdales pulling the Budweiser buggy.
Exactly. So that's my whip and that's my reasoning.
Carla?
All right, I'm going to go, and that's because I'm really limiting myself. I know you guys have seen all of these but I'm trying to really limit for the month and focus. But Gecko Rouge, this Rosie the Riveter was a well-known advertisement. It even has on there, we can do it. Plus Super Bowl muscles. You always have the muscles, and she's sporting them. So that will be how I tie it in somehow like that.
Okay, see, I needed help because being in Australia, I know what the Super Bowl is. You know, it's obviously sports, football, blah, blah, but I don't have any pieces that suit that. So then when it said commercials, it's like, well, I don't know what's on the commercials. So I could potentially maybe do my world postage stamps because New York is there, and maybe they sometimes have the final. Or you said horses, and Anzac has a horse in it.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
So there you go. I have two choices. Got a lot of choices now, because what I find is that I do these planning videos and then I change my mind. So I think I need to lay down for myself for my planning option A or B, because some of them will depend. Like if I do animals for this, well, then I won't do it for that. And yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. And you know, if you want to do something fun and you've just got a few free moments, go on YouTube and search Super Bowl commercials, and you will get a kick out of that. So there you go.
I just remember the frogs, Bud. Why?
Oh yeah.
They're always so fun. Love the commercials. Okay.
What else we got, Laurie?
What's next?
That's it. Just eight spots
There
for
is,
a fun fact.
but there is a bonusy something else.
There is. There's like an offbeat January holidays. And there's 5 for that. Do you want me to keep going with it?
Please do.
Okay, so the first one, January 3rd, is J.R. Tolkien's Day. So they want you to, if you have a Lord of the Ring piece you really want to work on, now would be the time. So for 2 points, stitch 200 stitches on a piece related to Lord of the Rings.
It was filmed in New Zealand.
There you go.
There you go.
That's good to know. I can use Anzac for that, but Anzac's not part of my
we cannot
grouping.
say if these are approved answers, all right? It's our opinion.
For sure.
When you said that, I went, oh, I do have something I could fit to that, because I definitely don't have any Lord of the Rings projects.
I don't. Oh, but don't they go like like Lord of the, now see, I'm going to show my greenness, but is that like the Hobbit and the whole?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I believe they had chairs and stuff made of wood branches and things in the little Hobbit hole, right? I know I saw wood, and my folk witch is sitting on a bench of sorts that has an arbor with greens, and I'll tie it. I'll make it work. I'm gonna make a story.
There you go.
What about you, Lori?
I think I'm going with Anzac. That sounds good to me.
Worth a try.
Okay.
Yes.
January 14th is Dress Up Your Pet Day. Have a piece that has an animal wearing clothes, stitch 300 stitches for 3 points. Oh, for sure, that'll work.
Animals in clothes.
Change in latitude. He's wearing his swim trunks.
I've got nothing.
You got nothing. Okay. January 16th is Appreciated Dragon Day. For 4 points, stitch 400 on a piece with dragons.
Once upon a fairy tale.
I got nothing on that one.
Nothing either.
Now here's the thing. I have them in my 80 whips.
Yes.
But I am committed to not take out anything that's not been pulled on my whip go for the month.
Okay.
So, okay. January 22nd is Answer Your Cat's Questions Day. For 3 points, stitch 300 on a piece with a cat.
Gigi.
I don't think I in mine have a cat.
My Gigi has a cat.
Yes.
I'm loving. I really focused. It's healthy.
Folk Witch. Look at that. Has a cat sitting there on the chair licking himself, but there's a cat.
Yep.
Folk Witch it is.
And I have, as the leaves turn, there's a cat lounging on the back of this deck here. So.
Oh yeah.
Kitty cat.
All right, January 28th is Rubber Ducky Day. For 2 points, stitch 200 for a piece with a duck, real or rubber.
Okay, I have a few choices here because, I mean, obviously I could do more on the world map because it's got Donald and Daisy Duck and stuff. And I'm actually stitching down here near Daisy Duck's butt. But I'm trying to think if I have another option. I don't know if there's any, there probably is a duck in the, yep, there is a duck in the Amazing Animal Kingdom bookshelf. That looks like a one of those duck things under the, like a duck.
Oh yeah.
Wild,
Yeah.
not a, you know. But I would prefer to do the swans are swimming, the geese are laying. Do you reckon I could do them as ducks? I know they're swans and geese.
That's not a
Probably.
duck.
But it looks like a duck.
Looks like a duck, talks like a duck. It might be a duck. I don't know.
I don't know.
Take a
Anyway,
chance.
There's some options. I think I've got probably safer bets. Looks like the map.
All right.
Yep, I have one. I would do get cracking. Like Lisa, that's not necessarily a swan. I'm gonna say that's a duck. So there you go.
Yeah. Look,
All right.
you don't get it, you don't get it.
And I was going to say that is the last of the special birthdays, but there is another prompt at the very end. Now I'm going to tell everybody, and now that I'm adminning a group and it kicked off today, I'm going to stress to everybody, please, when you're in a group, read the event. It has everything you need in that event. Just read it. And if you don't get it, read it again. Because sometimes there's a lot. Like this one event had those items, it had the birthdays, and now at the very bottom, it's got January birthdays. They give you a list of celebrities and historical figures who were born in the month of January. You receive 2 points for every 200 stitches you do per person. And there's probably, I'm going to guess, like around 10 names here. Martin Luther King Jr., for instance, Joan of Arc, David Bowie, Elvis Presley, Kevin Costner, Tom Selleck. And it actually tells you what your birthdays are. Diane did a fantastic job. Like you said, the researching for pop culture, she does an amazing job. So I feel like you honor those admins and those moderators by taking the time to read the events and see what applies to you and what you can work with. You may not be able to do them all, and that's okay.
You can't. I think a lot of groups try to do something so there's something to suit everyone. Nobody expects everyone to do everything. And when you're double dipping across the groups, you've got to be selective. You can't do everything. You don't want to get stressed. The reason why we're limiting our number of whips is to save our stress. And then we double dip it. And if we can't, well, we don't do it.
Right.
What we can. We've got a few other groups we're in, just before we get to NoNewStarts. I'm in a group that's just started up, and it's being run by the two girls who started up the Sassy Devils in Australia, in Tasmania, and it's called Down Under Divas. It's a challenge group, and it has monthly challenges at the moment. We're not going to go through them, but they're challenging. They're stitches like you've got to stitch 2,000 stitches on a piece on the border of a piece. Stitch 1,000 pieces on a piece with an island. This is why Anzac came up as my spare piece.
Well, those are some big numbers too. And
Yeah.
some stitchers are into those big numbers, and that could be a group for them.
Yeah, it's a big group. The thing we always say is you don't have FOMO. You can't be in all the groups, and not all the groups are a good match for you. Down Under Divas is for big stitches. If each of the events has between 500 and 2,000 stitches to do in the month for each one of the prompts. So, read up on them, join the group, read it up, and then leave if it's not right for you, because there's nothing worse than having people who are then like, I don't know, creating extra stress. As Carla said, with the launch of the new NoNewStarts, there's a lot of things that will help. What else we got? We're still in Survival of Stitchiest.
Mhm.
What are we doing in that, Laurie?
So there's still a bounty hunt going on, and we're capturing mythical creatures, and it's a team type of group. So there's a team of 15, and we are all collectively stitching to capture these people or these creatures. And there's also a yearly bounty event, and it's individual. So basically, you're doing the same thing. You're capturing creatures that have a tiered value, and it's basically a way to log your stitches and to, you know, stay engaged as an individual, because this is a group type of participation.
And the current bounty hunt finishes, I think, on the 7th of January. So we've got about another 2 weeks left of that. And then I imagine we'll get back into the normal format.
Right.
Going to throw at us, but it's nice actually to have this little diversion. In Utopia, we have reached our first stop on the way home back to our port city, which we're in Sparta, and we are madly shopping for a lot of supplies we need. The good thing is it's winter, and I think there's some bad storms on the way, and I'm really pleased that we are currently shopping in town. It might mean that things aren't able to be bought maybe, but at least we're not going to get snowed in the tent and the side of the road. So it's lots of fun. Both Utopia and Survival of the Stitchiest are accepting new members, but they are team-based games. So you've got to be prepared to contribute to the team. The poor team leaders are just volunteers like me, who get very frustrated when they're having to keep chasing people who are not pulling their weight. General rule of thumb for Survival of the Stitchiest, you need to be able to stitch at least 250 a day regularly. And Utopia, it's not so much the amount of stitches, it's just to do regular stitches and be able to listen to where you should put them. It's not really a game, unless you want to run your own settlement, it's not a game for you to do your own thing. You've got to be part of the team and follow the plan. And that's what makes it work well. What other ones have we got?
Full coverage fanatics, Lisa, I'm participating in, and you know, we always talk about their yearly, but I'm seeing now, and I didn't see this before, I need to make sure I'm going to it. They're having an eras in history prehistoric for the month of January. And I think every month they're going to do something different as far as the timeline, but for January, they're looking at your oldest chart, oldest project, out of print, dinosaurs, fossils, jungle, rainforest. Any way you can explain how the project fits into that prehistoric era, and they're taking it.
Ooh,
so
do you know what you'd pick for that, Carla?
Out of my group that I have here, you know, if my museum shelf was pulled, I could definitely use that for that prompt. But
is your animal pulled?
No.
Oh, yes, your museum shelf would be perfect.
Well, weren't sharks
see?
around? And sharks and alligators were around in prehistoric times. You have Anzac.
But it's not full coverage.
Yeah, it's got to be full coverage.
That's the problem with full coverage fanatics. It's got to be full coverage.
But could I use the folk witch? Because witches were around back then.
No.
I don't know.
That's pushing it a bit much.
That might be. I'd have to paint a pretty big story. So.
Okay, well, there you go. Any others, Laurie?
Not that I'm in. No.
Okay. So No New Starts. We're all in No New Starts. We're all on the admin team. Hello. We have launched our yearly event, and that is the travel event. There is heaps of information. We talked about it in depth in the last video, the yearly event. For the monthly event, we are only having 2 events just to get settled into the year because of the yearly event. The first one, Laurie, would you like to talk about that?
Oh, Boggle, the word games.
Yeah, it's yours. So you may as well talk about it.
She was like, what?
Laurie's taken over. Laurie has replaced Carla with Scrabble.
Yes.
It's now going to be a word game. So
yes, it will be a word game that's based off of Boggle. And in Boggle, you have like a grid, and I'm shrinking the grid to a 4x4. So you'll have each square will have a letter in it, and that will change. Your grid will change month to month. and you just have to spell words. And if you think of like your phone and swiping, if you create a word with adjacent letters that are touching each other, then you'll get points. So whatever the grid is, you'll find a word following the rules, which there will be examples, and you claim your word. To claim your word, you have to stitch 200 stitches. So I think it will be fun, and there will be neat little things in there like special bonus letters. If you use them or relate them to your WIP, then you get extra stuff. So it'll be fun.
It will be great. And it is running.
I'm excited.
It's running from we're going to run it a little bit longer than Scrabble was. And there is some elements of Scrabble coming into that event later in the year. So for those of you who love Scrabble, don't worry, it's still there. It's just part of the word game event now. The Wednesday the 13th till Sunday the 16th of January. So you're going to have 13, 14, 15, 4 days sort of to do it rather than just 24 hours. That fits in perfectly with the WIP Go weekend. That's the same weekend as the WIP Go weekend. The second event we have is going to be the rollover of the Zodiac on the 21st. And that is going to roll over to another year of the something. I haven't looked to see what it is yet, but it'll have the same format all year for the Zodiac. It'll roll over on about the 21st, and you can stitch for the, you know, the animal, the flower, the whatever. It is a start and a finish. You don't have to count. You just put your start and your finish for the project. You need to say how it fits into whichever bit you're doing. And each one of those 4 bits must be done separately as a separate reply to your post. So if you're doing the one project for all 4 bits, that's fine, but do like 200 stitches for the first one, then post another 200 for the next one. You need to actually specify. You can't just say blah, blah. Yeah, the moderator doing that wants them all separate. And that relates very closely to the first 24-hour cross stitch weekend. So there's lots happening in January. So we figured we didn't need to put much in it. But we do have the yearly event, and we just want to touch base on the travel event because it is kicked off yesterday in full swing. Carla, anything you want to say about that?
Please read the files. Read the files. There are 3 files. I've said to many people today, read the files. There's 3 of them. It's the travel agenda, very important. Print it out. We made it a PDF. There's links. There is the shopping how-to. There in the event has 4 specific steps right on the event. Read them. They are very simple. Some of you are getting it and it's fantastic, and you're doing your shopping and you're getting ready to get to the campground. Some of you are still finishing up your passports and then you're going to start traveling. That's fantastic. And have fun. It's not a race. Relax. Take a deep breath. We got all year to get there. It's a journey. It's not a race. And I know everybody's really excited and they jumped in, and I'm so happy that they're excited. They jumped in and they're trying to hurry up and figure it out and get going. But just take a deep breath, relax, slow down, look at the files, and it'll tell you what to do.
And look at the pinned post. One of the admins or moderators will have a pinned post at the start of every event. Whenever an event or a leg gets launched, there will be a pinned post there. Look at it. Do what they do because they're doing it right. And the reason why it needs to be done that particular way is so that we can find everything and you know what you're doing. We want you to enjoy the journey. So you can't just stitch ahead. Somebody, I think, was already starting to stitch the sightseeing, which is happening at the end of the leg. You can't do that till you get there. You're not there. You can use travel, you shop. You travel, you shop. You travel, you shop. Then you have to spend 2 days at the campground. Now, when you're at that campground, you can choose to stitch your shopping. That's fine. But you have to have at least traveled before you get to the campground. You can't just go, oh, there's 5 shopping legs. Give me 5 numbers. No, it doesn't work that way. All right. And we will be sweeping a couple of times a day between the admin moderator team. We cover all the time zones. You just have to be patient. If you were waiting to find out what you got for your shopping, go on to the next travel. Okay.
Correct. The only hard stop is when you get to the final checkpoint. And that and it's in your travel agenda. It says very clearly under special instructions, make sure all shopping and all stitches completed, then tag the admin, because that's when we're going to come to your leg travel event that you posted to, and we're going to sweep down through and make sure you got everything you were supposed to get. And then we may have something special for you along the way. There might be some surprises along your trip. You can't stitch for it if you're not there yet, because who knows what may pop up on our journeys. And we'll be telling you once we've checked if you're clear to go to the second leg whenever that is released. So,
and
take your time.
Any pop-up events that exist, we had one last week, they only last for the pop-up time. If you miss a pop-up because you choose to not do it at the time, which is fine, you don't have to, they're optional. When you've missed it, you've missed it. All you're missing mostly is a badge. It's not the end of the world. All right. But if there's a pop-up, you need to do it when it says. If there's no pop-up, everything else lasts all year. You don't have to keep up with the bulk of the people. Think about a bike race. We have our pace stitches to tell us where the bike race is up to on the Tour de France or whatever it is. If you're a straggler down the end, that's fine. The shop's still going to be open for you when you get there. So it's all good. Take your time, enjoy it. And please, though, read the event description. That has the most up-to-date, detailed information. We do make clerical errors, and it's very frustrating when you get asked 50 questions over a really common sense clerical error that you can work out.
We definitely want, we said from the very beginning, this is a very fluid event. It's going to be you have to be very flexible and patient, because we're learning your stitching styles, just like we're learning who's been in challenge groups and who hasn't, and are we covering all of our bases to help you. So you've noticed from the beginning, our events have become very much more detailed and more simplified, because we found that we have some new challengers in this group, and that's fantastic. And we're not discouraging that. We actually encourage it, because it's definitely a nice event to dip your toe in, because it's at your pace. Just don't get stressed out and take your time.
Step by step, follow the steps in order.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, well, I think we've talked at you enough. So that is the monthly. As I said, Laurie and I'll be back at you next week for the weekly. And we hope you have a great stitching. If you have questions or anything, you can pop them at the video or on the post where we post this video in the different groups. Have a great week of stitching, guys.
Bye.